Now for a little segment we like to call
Let's talk real. Let's talk real. Let's talk real. Talk real. All right. Let's talk real.
What's up, guys? My name is Beast Mode, and today I've got a serious topic to talk to you guys about, and that is drugs and alcohol. Probably two of the most lectured topics growing up for anybody, but obviously they still play a major impact on our society. Regardless, they're two big parts of our life, especially from that age group, when you're mid-teen to late 20s, which is where I think a lot of the viewers are. And before I give you, my opinions on whether or not you should do drugs and alcohol and just my overall experience and perspective on them, I want to tell you to, live your own life, and you're free to make your own choices, and in no way will I judge you for what you do. So feel free to take my advice for what it is, and know that regardless of what you do in your own personal life or the decisions you make, I really don't care. And I don't want that to sound bad. Basically, I'm just saying I'm not going to judge you for what you do. But drugs and alcohol, something we're all surrounded by, on an everyday basis. Should you do them? Do you do either of them? Do I do either of them? And the answer to those questions is just no, I don't know, and no. Personally, I don't drink alcohol, nor do I consume any type of harmful drug, except for the occasional caffeine and Mountain Dew. And I honestly think they put something into Mountain Dew that they're not telling us about, because Mountain Dew is like the drink of the gods. It's just like amazing, unearthly amazing. But but okay, drugs, real drugs. To me, that's a pretty simple answer, and they're illegal. Whether or not you can argue how harmful they actually are to your body compared to other things, like weed usually is, the fact still stands that the government's made them illegal, and regardless of what you want to say about them, you're going to be punished for it if you get caught. And for me, that's a good enough reason in itself not to do them, not to mention all the negative aspects of them. And, I'm talking about all drugs in general. I'm not just, focusing on marijuana, because I know the Mary Jane has a little bit more acceptable credibility, in the eyes of the general public compared to something like heroin or meth, which is considered more of, a serious drug. And, really another big reason that I'm almost scared to do any of the serious drugs is just the fact that I have a very addictive personality, and I can almost guarantee myself that I would be someone who'd want to do it all the time. That's just how I am. Alcohol and tobacco, on the other hand, is a whole different beast. It's a legal beast, and as long as you're of age, you have that right, you have that decision to make. Like I said, it's legal, so when you're that age, if you want to make that lifestyle decision to do that, that's completely your own right to do so. I have nothing in that. However, just because something is legal, it doesn't really make it good for you. And I don't think I've ever met anybody who was a drug user, a heavy drinker, smoker, who ever eventually quit that habit and then regretted that choice. People try and quit for a reason, and when they do quit, all you ever hear about is how it positively affected their life. You never hear about people like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have quit, And I know it's hard to quit, but usually once people quit for good, it's for the better. So for me, it's like, why even start, because I don't want to have to get to the point where I feel like I want to quit. And honestly, I had about a year span on and off where I messed around with chewing tobacco. The summer going into my senior year, I worked in a shipping warehouse, operating a forklift and, loading animal feed onto trucks. And it was one of those jobs that really makes you want to get an education. Yeah, luckily for me, though, it was just a temporary job, unlike all the old guys, that they've been there for 30, 40 years. And obviously a place like this it's filled with a lot of rough people. And I don't mean to be judgmental, but these guys were kind of what you'd call dingy, or, they're kind of mean guys. And all of them chewed and smoked because the managers allowed you to chew in the warehouse. And I hated this job with a passion. Every day was the longest 8 hours of my life. And I was somewhat curious as to what chew was like. Mostly just because I wanted something to do while I was at work, to keep my mind occupied other than the fact that it sucked. So my first time taking a dip was Wintergreen Grizzly, and I was stupid enough, and I took a huge pinch. Practically, it was like a full-on lower ringer, and I'll tell you, I I'd never had nicotine in my body, and I was whizzing around on a forklift in tight spaces, so the ensuing feelings in my stomach and my head just didn't really coincide very well with my work. And I remember going to the bathroom and just sitting there for like 10 minutes. My stomach felt like crap, and I had a really strong buzz going on. And nicotine buzzes just kind of make you feel like super, super relaxed and almost like a bit out of it. You're really chill. So obviously, you're like, well, why would I do it again? But I kind of kept the habit on and off just for a while, meaning like every couple months or so I'd get like a can or two. I wasn't like a can a day chewer like most people. It was just occasionally I'd feel like getting a can and I'd have one. And it was pretty much the summer going into college is when it did. And eventually I quit, and I haven't chewed in a long time now. And I'm glad I'm not. Alcohol, though, I really don't understand why people start to drink that. They always say it tastes like shit the first time, and yet they continue to drink it until eventually they like acquire that taste for it. And to me, it's like, well, why don't I just piss into your mouth? I know you're not going to like it, but trust me, if you keep drinking it, eventually you'll like it, I promise. Not to mention, like all the bad things that come from it. And I know it's fun being drunk or tipsy. Parties may be funner. Social pressure may compel you to, but really think about it. In the long run, what positive benefit comes from alcohol? You never hear good stories about alcohol other than, like parties and whatnot, like I said. Really, there's no benefits. And I'd just like to encourage you, especially those of you who haven't or don't drink, to just be that light in the cave. Stand up against the crowd and be proud that you don't drink. You're really not going to miss out on that much, because I have friends that tell me they need alcohol now in order to have a good time. And I don't want to have to be drunk in order to have a good time. So that's kind of my opinions on guys' things. If you do choose to do that stuff, that's your opinion. If you don't, though, I just want to encourage you to be that guy that stands up for what he believes in. And, that's just awesome if you do. So my name is Beast Mode, guys. Have a good one. Peace out.